Good afternoon. I'm Zelda Mason. I'm part of the Kraft family, and it is my pleasure to welcome Dan Abrams. He is truly a man for all seasons. He is an attorney.
I'm one of a handful of people who have sort of the dubious distinction of being able to say that I'm a member of two of the most disliked professions in America, journalist and lawyer.
Dan's main topic today is there law and justice in America? A reporter reflects, and he'll be encompassing some other subjects as well.
O.J. Simpson, Michael Jackson, Timothy McVeigh, Scott Peterson, whatever the scandal is of the day, listen carefully to what the lawyers are saying. And in almost every case, you will hear the lawyers blaming the media. It's the media's coverage that's the problem. In fact, I would argue that in high-profile cases, it's just the opposite of what these defense attorneys say. That most defendants are actually at an advantage, but not for the reason that you may think. From Robert Blake to Michael Jackson, O.J., etc., all found not guilty, but not because the jurors are starstruck, as some suggest. And not because they want to write books, but actually in most cases, in most high-profile cases, the reason I think you see an advantage to the defendant is because the jurors are taking the beyond a reasonable doubt standard so seriously. They know the world is watching. I think actually the Robert Blake case is a really good example, and most of you probably did not follow this case very closely. Robert Blake, all right? The evidence was overwhelming, in my view, against him, all right? There were audio tapes of his dead wife where he's yelling and screaming at her about how she fooled him into having a child with him. I mean, really the most vile audio tapes and things that he said about her. Two stuntmen who he worked with testified that he asked them to, quote, snuff or whack his wife, which are very unique terms in describing a killing of someone, but very Robert Blake, if you ever listen to him. But of course, the most amazing part of this is his defense is essentially that he and his wife were having dinner at a restaurant. They left the restaurant, and he realized, lo and behold, he'd forgotten his gun at the restaurant. I hate it when that happens. So you go back, and he goes back for the gun, and when he comes back, his wife is dead. She's been shot. That was the defense in the Robert Blake case. In the criminal case, the beyond a reasonable doubt standard, taken really seriously by the jurors, was such a high burden that they decided they didn't quite have it. The point I'm making is that in all of these cases, what you see is the wiggle room that exists, the jury nullification that we see in other cases, doesn't tend to happen as often in the highest profile cases because the jurors want to be really, really careful to stick to the letter of the law. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and happy to take questions.